Hey, Bob Upgren here, Cross Training Ministries with a missions trip update. First of all, thank you so much. Thank you so much for your patience as we have navigated COVID and the implications of it on our missions program. And I know we have worked, and many of you know this, we have been working diligently behind the scenes, really trying to determine how do we continue doing missions, how do we continue to do missions safely, and how do we still provide this amazing, incredible experience for your son or daughter. So I decided to shoot in video format because of two reasons. One, this would have been an extremely long email or PDF, and I don't know if you'd want to read that or not. And two, maybe more importantly, it's really difficult to sense tone in an email or a written form. And I want you to sense the tone of the excitement of what we have discovered and some decisions that we've made for our ministry and specifically for your son or daughter. So the first thing that needs to be said is the Dominican trip that we have rolled over into 2022, we are suspending. Now, we are not canceling out the Dominican as a missions location for us in the future, but right now, we don't feel that it's safe, and really, I don't feel personally like I want to put any parent in a compromising situation by taking a trip there. Specifically, here's what I mean. The issue is not getting our athletes or our group into the Dominican Republic. We can simply say everybody has to test negative, and if you're negative, you get in. That's fine. The issue is getting everybody back. And if somebody were to test positive, that athlete would have to stay in the Dominican for a minimum of 10 days. Now, I'd be willing to stay there, but I don't want to put a parent in a situation where I call you and say, hey, your son or your daughter has tested positive for COVID, and even worse yet, physically, they're not doing well. So as we looked at that situation specifically, we feel like right now what we want to do is suspend the Dominican trip, keep it on our missions platform, and when we have determined the safest way for us to reinitiate that experience, we will. So rather than just say we are just suspending and we're not going to do missions until we figured the Dominican out, what we have been doing behind the scenes is diligently vetting other missions locations. Now, this is a good thing for us because it's been on my heart and it's been a discussion in our ministry for several years to establish another missions location. And so behind the scenes, we have been vetting domestic locations throughout the United States, trying to determine what location would be a good location to bring your son or daughter to carry the mission of cross training into that area. And I'll tell you real quick, there's a criteria that we look for. One, we want to have a sports element to it, whether we're initiating our sports clinics or having sports competition or really truly both. So we want that sports element to it. Number two, we look for a situation that really we can meet a need. And specifically what we search for is an area where there is poverty, but at the same time is partnered with safety. So we look for an area where there's poverty, where we can really meet essential needs of people, but we're still taking our group into a safe location. Now, that's what we had in the Dominican Republic by staying in Juan Dolio, by doing ministry in Santo Domingo, extremely safe. So we want a sports element, and we want that poverty but safe situation to serve to be a part of the criteria. And the last thing is, ideally, we want there to be a cultural experience to it. We want to be able to take our group a little bit outside of their comfort zone. We want them to see new things, experience parts of new cultures. This all becomes a part of the greater missions experience. So those three things, the sports, the poverty yet safety issue, and the culture experience is what we have looked for. Now, in the process of looking at that criteria, we discovered something that I think is just incredibly unique. We have found a location where we can fly and travel domestically and then drive into an international location that has extreme poverty, but in all honesty, is actually maybe even more safe than Dominican Republic. And that's not saying that Santo Domingo and Juan Dolio is not safe. It's safe. This just feels safer. And I say it feels safer because I took my team there and we walked the whole thing and we traveled the whole thing before we even considered taking your son or daughter with. The location is in Ensenada and specifically Maniadero, Mexico. We partner with an organization called Baja Bound, and what they do is help missions organizations like ours build homes for families in need. Now, there's other ministry things that we will be doing there, and I'll explain it in a minute. But specifically, Baja Bound becomes a point to build a home site for a family. So the trip is we fly into San Diego. We are partnered up with some of the Baja Bound staff. We get our group into vans, cross the border, which is an extremely safe border at Tijuana, and enter a toll road that goes right along the coastline, and we drive into Ensenada. We just got back from the trip. We did it ourselves, and I can tell you it's extremely safe. It's amazing how easy it is to cross the border there in terms of testing with COVID, because that is such an enormous, the volume of traffic at that border, they couldn't even consider testing for COVID. So we have no issues testing there or testing coming back, which is great news. Because in the Dominican Republic, if your son or daughter got sick, we could likely not get them back because they could not get on an airplane. But in this situation in Maniadero and in Ensenada, if someone were in the event to get sick, we can drive them back to San Diego and we can get them safely back stateside. So this is a big game changer in terms of still being able to do international missions, but have it safe enough and have us be able to work in and around the COVID protocols. So we fly into San Diego, we go through the border at Tijuana, drive along a beautiful, really an amazing scenic toll road that's one of the best and well-kept roads I've ever driven on, and we drive right into Ensenada. From airport into Ensenada, you're looking at 2.5 hours. And we get in, the location that we stay at is a gated community right on the Pacific Ocean in some older beach homes is what they are. Extremely safe there, very nice location. Good bathroom situations, they're clean, our meals are all provided there, and we are 50 steps from walking down on the beach to the Pacific Ocean, which is an important element, I've got to admit. In our missions trips, in the morning and in the evening, we commonly have devotions and debrief in the evening along the oceans. So this is really a unique thing that we've still been able to capture. Now, what we do with this trip, let me tell you just a little bit about the Ensenada and the Maniadero area. It's highly agricultural, and here's where the need presents itself. There are people in Mexico that are traveling to Ensenada and to Maniadero for a better life, for better wages, for a better overall way of living for their family, and a safer way to live for their family, to be honest. And what happens is there are levels that these families kind of travel through. They travel into the Maniadero area and they go into migrant villages. Now, these migrant villages are unbelievably poverty-stricken. Most of them are constructed, believe it or not, with horse stalls. So families, a family of 5, a family of 6, some families even larger than that, are living in these horse stalls. It's really sad. There's a great need, and our ministry can come in and be a part of serving this family. The goal that the family has is establish employment and then be able to purchase a piece of land in Maniadero and get a home site. Where Baja Bound comes in and where we partner with them is we build that home for the family. So this is something that we don't do in the Dominican Republic, and now we're able to do here. What I love about this is it becomes sustainable ministry for us, missions ministry for us. Sustainable in the fact that that house isn't going anywhere. We build it and we go back a year later and it's still there. But more important is we are not just building a home, we're building a relationship with that family, where we can help that family get their children to school. We can sponsor them financially to get them to school. We can help them financially with healthcare needs. We can help them financially to make sure the home that we constructed for them stays current, stays safe, and has the needs that is required. It's incredibly It's an incredibly unique opportunity for us to grab hammers and screwdrivers and drills and paint and literally change the generation of a family. It's going to be life-changing for that family. I know it's going to be life-changing for the young people that participate in the trip with us. And honestly, it is life-changing for Cross Training as a ministry because we now have a sustainable element in our missions organization. So that home build is one thing, and that will take 3 days of the trip, about 2.5 to 3 days, believe it or not, and we're going to be able to erect a home and literally hand keys to the family. This experience where you give the keys to the family and you pray over the home is unbelievably emotional. You can about imagine it, and our kids are going to be able to experience it firsthand. So that's one aspect of the trip. Another aspect is we are still going to be able to do our sports clinics, and we have partnered with a great point person in the university system in Ensenada who works in the university system and some of the high schools, and we're working on constructing competition for our athletes as well. So we have the sports element, we have the home build, and then a really incredible opportunity is there are still orphanages there that our Bags Without Borders can go in, along with the migrant villages, and provide essential needs for the families there. So we still have sports. We have a poverty area that is extremely safe. We get to build a house from the ground up, and we still have a sports element to it. And all the while, I got the privilege of mentoring your son and daughter throughout the entire thing. We are extremely excited about the opportunity of not having Mexico replace the Dominican Republic, but just temporarily suspending the Dominican Republic and now initiating our second missions platform in Ensenada and specifically Maniadero. So in the near future, both of these missions locations will be points for us to do trips. I can't tell you, as I said, we did the trip ourselves. I would not take your son or daughter to any location without vetting it personally firsthand. And I took 2 of my team members with. We flew into San Diego. We drove through the border. We viewed the sites. We talked to families that have had homes built. We talked to families who are about to get homes built. We visited the orphanages. And yes, we even tried the tacos. And that might be worth it alone. I'm joking, but it is really going to be a cultural experience on top of everything else. Okay, so where do we go from here? In this communication, there's a Google Doc that you're going to want to review in detail. It has all the relevant dates, the pertinent deadlines. It has information on the pricing, which I'm excited to say the price of the trip is exactly the same. When you factor in, we're still traveling internationally, we're still doing sports components, we're still doing Bags Without Borders, and now we're adding a home build on top of it. We were able to keep the price of the trip exactly the same, so that information is in there along with a host of other details. If you have any questions, the best form of communication is actually via email. Now, you can always call the Cross Training office as well. We are here to serve you. We're here to answer any and all questions regarding the missions experience that we're talking about in this video. But a lot of times on a week-to-week basis, we are still running and doing ministry on a week-to-week basis. So at times we are out of the office. But best communication is via email. You can always call the office as well. We're here to serve you. I'm excited about the opportunity of bringing Mexico onto the Cross Training Missions platform. I would never take your son or daughter into a situation that is not safe. I've traveled it myself. Not only is it safe, it's culturally unique, and it's doing something that is missionally sustainable. Last thing, I'm honored to be a part of the life of your son or daughter, their spiritual growth, and just honored to be a small voice of mentorship in their life. And we're going to be able to do that in this trip as well. So again, any questions, shoot the office via email or call the office, and you want to talk to Kendra Bachmeyer, our Director of Operations. I look forward to families saying, hey, we are in, this sounds great. We look forward to gathering the Cross Train family and doing missions in the way that we do missions. Look forward to seeing you, answering questions, and having your son or daughter with us this summer. God bless.